Hi, I'm Jazz and I'm an alcoholic and I'm codependent. I work a 12-step program and I seek health. I'm a seeker and a traveler in my journey. To the newcomer, to someone struggling, to someone suffering, and I know that was me a long time ago, and I was very scared of even picturing myself coming close to an Alcoholics Anonymous room or a codependent room. I don't want to be someone that has more problems or am this. And I didn't want to go to an AA room when I didn't want to be an alcoholic. I don't want to put a label on myself. I don't want to admit this. I don't want to deal with this. And I'm scared. And what are people going to think of me? And it's a huge step to get to a room of any kind. And it's scary. I know for me, so much fear work in my journey and pushing through fear and feelings and changing situations. Like, there's so much work to do. And it's one step at a time, one after the other. And, back then when I was really scared and, deep in my addiction, active addiction, I was scared to go to a room, and I did go to one once, and I just sort of snuck in there and I kept my hat on and my head down. I didn't say I was a newcomer. I didn't want any attention. I didn't want anything to do with that room or to be there at all. I was really just there to say that I went and did something and wanted to go back to my drinking, and was saying I was working on something. And so I had no desire, I didn't want to quit drinking. I wasn't interested in it. And, but I was also very scared to be there. And I was like half loaded when I went to one of those meetings. So it wasn't the time. And, if I could help a newcomer, I'm just going to share exactly what it's like to go into a room. If you've never been in a room before, it's scary, to think, which meeting should I go to, and to go there and not know anybody. So I walk into the room. There's a greeter. They say hello. I say hello. And I just, quietly go sit down. And then, it's scary because there's a lot of people that know each other in the room, and they're chatting and they're getting along. But, I'm angry and miserable and in addiction, and I don't want to talk to anybody. I just want to get back to my drinking. And so sitting in this, watching this go on, I see that there's people that know each other and they're having a good time. And then all of a sudden it's the time to start the meeting, and everything gets quiet and they start the meeting. And, I think it's just scary to be the only one that is different. And it's scary to talk about something so painful and embarrassing. I don't have any tools. I'm in active addiction. And, being in the rooms is one of my favorite places now, and some of the safest places for me to be. And I love that I can go there and meet and see other people that are also seeking health and wanting to get better, and, like-minded individuals. I always know that's what I'm going to get when I go to a room. And, I understand that as a newcomer, you can't understand that yet. In the beginning for me, I didn't know that. I just felt like such an outsider. I felt like I didn't belong anywhere in my life. I didn't even feel like I belonged in my own skin or anything. So So I'm in this room and everybody goes around and they do shares, they do random shares, and you can pass, you don't have to talk. So, I didn't say I'm an alcoholic. I didn't say any of that because I'm not an alcoholic. I didn't think that at that time. So, I still didn't think I was these people. And so anyways, I think I had just said my name and pass, and I literally was just there to like cash in so I could go back out and get my drinking. I was having a nice, a minute off from being a mom and taking care of them. And, I really wasn't taking care of them when I was like not present and drinking that much. And so the meeting goes on and I passed and then I just got out of there. And it wasn't until treatment when I really started getting into AA and I was practicing, now I'm actually sober and in a room. And, getting into it sober was a lot different than when I was in active addiction, just trying to get more alcohol and people off my back. Like that was a different meeting for me than when I had finally given up and surrendered and was ready to try something different. So, I remember going back to another meeting down the road, and I'm shy of people, and I don't like to share, and I'm scared, and I'm like, I'm not going to know anyone at this meeting or whatever. But I often find if I can just remember one, nice, safe person, then I'm like, oh, they're there, then it's okay. So I find I can always count on, there's usually one person, I don't need to know everyone, but there's usually one person that I could, just say hi to or sit by and then kind of feel okay. And that really helped me get to some of those meetings. And, most of the time, like, I haven't had a really awful experience in a room. Most of the time people are just like, want you to come in, want you to know what they know and have the life that they have. And like, people want to help, like, and I really believe that today. And it helps me to ask for help, because I know on the other end, they want to help. And, it's just the hardest part is to asking and stay consistent with that, to get out of my head, to surrender that I don't have all the answers. And, I'm exposing myself. I'm being vulnerable, and I don't have anything to cover up my feelings anymore. I don't have any booze. I don't have any drugs. I don't have things to avoid my feelings, right? I'm raw, and that is freaky. So going to a room is, even though that everybody is in there and looks like they know each other, it's nothing against, like, I kind of took it as nobody wants to talk to me. This is going to be too hard. I'm too scared. And I kind of took that as, as a selfish, self-centered alcoholic, I took that as nobody wants me to be there. Like, so crazy, and I just had to keep sitting down and keep going to realize that everybody wants me there. All these people in AA and in Coda, they want me there and they love me and they want the best for me. And, I just keep going and opening up and learning about myself and staying connected. And, I'm healing through this. I'm healing. And that's the point, is I'm giving up my ways of healing me. And I'm turning myself in every time through all these trials and tribulations in my life. I'm turning myself in and I'm practicing how to change and how to be honest and how to forgive and love myself and let things go. And that takes way more people than just me. That takes a collective of people, literature, dedication to help me transform my life. And, I surround myself with a lot of good people today that do know more than me, and healthy people that are growth minded, growth focused, positive thinkers. I find true value in who I surround myself with and who I talk to. And, the more I develop me, the better I can see. And that's been just the biggest way for me to, figure out my direction and having that conscious contact with my higher power, big time. So, in the rooms, it's so important. Like, I'm a meeting goer. I've always gone to meetings, and I am way too scared to even test what it would be like to not be going to meetings, because it's not what was advised or told to me in the beginning. I don't let myself off the hook. I don't want to risk that, and I don't want to get far away from it. I want to stay centered and connected, because once I get off, it's too much work it's a lot of work getting back. So it seems easier to just maintain closer to the middle of the path, than getting lost. I don't want to get lost. I tried to quit so many times on my own before getting to the rooms, and it was a failing process. Like, I failed a lot before I got to a room. And, it was, I had to fail that many times, I think, and fall on my face to just really understand that I'm only hurting me, but not getting better. And there's so much good about getting better, and there's so much help, and I don't have to do it alone. And people in those rooms want the best for me. And it's not like anyone's going to be mean to me in there, or, look at you, you're an alcoholic. Like, no one's going to say anything bad to me. Like, I thought everybody could see how I feel when I went in the rooms. I thought, I had the wrong thoughts, and it's taken me years to get the right thoughts. And the scariest part, like, of course it's going to be scary trying something new, but it's just getting better is so much freer and worth it. And I wish I would have done it sooner. And I did it when it was my time, and I hit a nice good bottom, and I'm glad, because it's scarier to think, where would I be if I didn't hit that bottom? I'd be in the middle. I'd be like weekend drinking, and I just wouldn't have all of this great stuff that I figured out in recovery. And, my life is tenfold compared to what it was like in active addiction. And, I never want to risk that. I don't want to risk the life that I have today. I appreciate what I've sown here in this program. And, getting sober was the symptom. That was the thing that was showing. And, after I got, sober, that was the easy part. And I remember someone telling me that, getting sober is the easy part. It's everything after. And every single year after has just been huge growth. And it continues to go. I continue to grow. It keeps going. There's no end. There's no destination. I finally believe that today, that there's no destination. And I'm to blame, because I will put destinations on things. Like, when I get here, it'll be this and it'll be great. And, when I put a destination on that, I put a limit on it. I put a cap on it. And it's, once I get there, it's flat. Like, it's fleeting. It's over. It's never lasts. And, today I've really learned to just stay in the now and today and work today. And I don't have a destination anymore. It's just sort of an openness to where do you want me to go? And I find there's a lot of freedom in that. And there's too many gifts in recovery. There's so many gifts, and I can't even think of them all now that I've like all the gifts that I have acquired in recovery. But the thing is that all the gifts are given and in me, and it's just up to me. If I work this, I get the gift. I don't have to be better, smarter. I don't have to be deserving. The gifts are in me. They're already given to me. And it's literally just up to me if I want them or not. So I already have them in my suitcase. And the more I work this, the more I get to use what's in my suitcase. It's already been given to me. So, I'm traveling in my life with no destination, with peace and bliss, and I have all of everything in my suitcase that I need, and I'm just uncovering all of those things in that, and working towards that, and things unfold, and I'm not using all my energy and all my power because I involve people, I involve my higher power. I reach out, I write things down, I do the steps. I've done AA steps, I'm doing CODA steps, and more just keeps coming from that. And that's how I live. And I don't know where I'm going. I'm just here going. And I think that is the freedom of getting away from, once I get my business to this, and then it's all going to be great, or once we have kids, then it's all going to be great. Or, once, I'm letting all of that go, and I'm waiting for things to come into my life. I'm in a bit more of a, submissive position of just waiting and seeing and working with the real reality and results of life. And then honestly acting and responding to life appropriately. I have control over how I am going to respond to situations, and I'm feeling it. And sometimes I do have a reaction that's strong, a strong reaction. I'm not immune from reactions. They tell me something. Most of the time I don't react bad. Sometimes I do, but they tell me something. And all these little pillars and things that I learn, they guide me, and they just keep, it's like it keeps adding things to my path to keep me closer to the middle. And, I don't know where I'm going, but it feels like I'm going somewhere good. So, it is just, the pain does end. I wanted the pain to stop when I first got into the rooms, and I was hurting, and there's so much was wrong and so overwhelming. How am I going to fix it all? How, I'm in debt, so many things. And the thing is it's just about, for me, I just had to get to a lot of meetings in the beginning. I had to talk to people. I didn't share for the first few years, but I went to my meetings. And so I just follow the instructions, just keep following the instructions, from one thing to the next. And when the hard things happen in my life, as long as I keep my recovery in the center, I get through those hard things. They don't throw me off. I always get through. I keep me, and and then everything that I go through, I gain from. I'm gaining that strength and knowledge, and I'm gaining, I get a gift usually one day from that, and I become a better me. and a better person than everybody else in the world. And I'm not living in a bunch of shame and sorrow. I'm living and I'm happy about it. And that's a good byproduct from all this really hard work that I've been doing. So the hard work is really, really worth it. So rooms for me were really scary at the beginning, but I sat through them and it sucked and I didn't know anyone, but it wasn't as scary as I thought. I just, I notice I'm scared to do this. I walk through it. I sit down. That's it. Just come back and go back and sit back down and just repeat. And I never let go of my meetings. I'm a meeting goer. So yeah, I hope this sheds some light on just what a room looks like and being a newcomer, people want to help, and I have to learn how to help myself, and I need people to help me learn how to help myself. Okay, thanks.